Welcome and welcome back. We are headed to Rio de Janeiro, one of the many cities that the UFC simply belongs in. And we have a main event that was in a little bit of jeopardy, but luckily it got saved. Charles Oliveira and Mateusz Gamrot are going to go head to head in what should be a pretty sticky matchup. And we got a lot of other really incredible fights lined up. There's a lot of fights on this card, so it should be a great night. Let's give it a fabulous dynamic breakdown, talk about what everybody has been up to. Snorlax has got his Brazil. Ignore that this is Portland, Maine. That's not that. We have this hat, but it's a little. It just looks a little weird. So maybe we'll swap it. Snorlax's hat so we can rep both. Let's talk about our agenda. We have the Farmazia Arena in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Shout out. We love Brazil. This is so much fun. The crowd is going to be just so hype. We got a Brazilian talent showcase on our hands. I mean, come on. We have so many talented fighters from Brazil in the UFC. It is insane. So we got a stacked card. And let me tell you something interesting about the fighters we have here. We got a lot of blue collar skills everywhere. We're talking carpentry. We're talking laying bricks. Okay, we're talking diesel mechanics. We've got skills. This is skills 101 outside of the cage. So that's pretty cool. And, we got to highlight a little bit of that here and there. And thank you to Mateusz for saving the main event. Mateusz, say it differently every time. Okay, we love you, man. We love you, Gamrot. I mean, talk about Gamer coming in. Because Fazeev, we lost him, all right? I mean, he's still with us. He's alive. But, I mean, he had to pull out. Yeah. But we made it work. We had a lot of canceled fights. I mean, a few fights that fell through entirely. So thank goodness we did not lose our main event. We really want to see Charles Oliveira make his return because rumor has it, okay, he hasn't been here since 2020. And in his UFC career, he is undefeated in Brazil. So he's got some good luck on his hands. First up, we got a bantamweight scrap. We got a do or die moment right here between Luan Lacerda and Simon Oliveira. This is do or die. Luan Lacerda, a Shooto Brazil champion, black belt in BJJ, is basically every fighter from Brazil who's on this card and in the UFC in general, right? I mean, or at least close to it, right? Black belt or close to it. He was in the LFA and then came to the UFC in 2023, and it's been a slow start. It's been a little bit of a slow start, which is troubling. So we're on a 2-fight losing streak, currently coming off of a TKO loss to Damon Blackshear, who we know is a baddie yaddy yaddy, right? So it's okay. But that was way back in 2023, which is maybe a little bit less okay. Just a little bit concerning, right? I want to know what's good with that. Hope he's all right. Where's he been? His previous fight was against Cody Steinman. So again, that's really tough matchups. I mean, two gritty, complicated fights. So yeah, I gave him some pretty tough matchups, and it's been a little here and there in terms of where has he been. Okay, but he's a subber. 83% of his wins. He's very kicky, though, as well, implementing that Muay Thai style. I mean, we're talking kicks right up to the face this way, and we're talking a lot of low kick action, right? So look out for that. And he's one of Jose Aldo's teammates. So that's fun. And he's going against Simon Oliveira, who is from Aspera FC, or he's the champion over there, and has been in the UFC since 2022. And again, a little bit of a slow start and a little bit of a do or die type energy here. This might be it. But okay. 61% of his wins are sub, and he's never been sub, so he's a sub to himself. And he's coming off of a TKO loss to David Martinez, but we know David Martinez has been on an absolute year, right? I mean, David Martinez just so kicky, so nasty. That's like it was tough to get through that, get past that kicking range. I mean, yeah, and Simon can be pretty planted. Definitely has a conservative approach to his fighting style, not exactly just gun-ho and get in there. And he used to be a butcher. Okay, skills start right now. This is an interesting one. It's a little bit of a do or die moment, a little scary, a little bit of some scary times for our fellas, right? Both of them really got to get it done in this one. Really got to get it done, but they've faced some pretty tough competition. Also, it's been a little spotty, but we got two substers. on our hands for this one, and mainly just the do or die moment of it all. And then we have what I am quite confident is going to be a fabulous matchup with two ladies who have a lot in common in terms of their fighting approach, Julia Pilastri and Carolina Kowalkiewicz. Julia Pilastri, psycho, and let me tell you, that adds up, right? In a compliment, in a compliment for sure. She's got a psycho type energy when she's in there. I mean, she just stays so calm and composed, and she is hungry for it. Like the type of fighter who knows how to turn it up for round 3, but not in a chaotic way. Like she's locked in. I love it. Muay Thai, Judo Brazil champ, LFA champ, made her way through the Dana White's Contender Series, and she's, more so on that decision grind, i.e. psycho, right? Like we turn it up and we simply are a flame that will not be quelled. But she can do it all, full, MMA arsenal, and is currently coming off of decision loss to Loopy, right? Gudinez, we love Loopy, Loopster, power bomb. That was a great moment in that fight. But hey, after getting power bombed, she held on and she stayed pretty active on the bottom. So that was really cool to see. Just a lot of really good activity down there. Like she didn't let herself just get slammed on. Like she was offensive on her back too. Hello, Charles Oliveira, right? But she couldn't really get her offense going, but in that round 3, we saw a little bit of gas. Yeah. Gas. It was pretty good. She definitely turned it up and was looking really dangerous. There was some moments in there that I was like, oh, the tides could turn. And she's willing to wade through that fire, and she has never been finished. So she is a tough mother effer, and I think she's got a very, very bright future ahead of her. Really shines in the clinch, loves it in there, very kicky, but we've had a lot of canceled bouts, so it's been a little in that sense, but I think coming back at a really apt time, having just fought in March, so we're getting some steam. And she has got herself a tough veteran ahead of her in Carolina Kowalkiewicz. She has been fighting before the UFC even let women in. Yeah, let's talk about experienced veteran status. That's pretty cool. So, dreaming about fighting in the UFC in like a fever dream type way, like, maybe one day, but probably not, to like actually dreaming about it in a reality. And here she is. Yeah, she fought in KSW, being from Poland, that makes some sense. And came to the UFC in 2015, was here to see the creation of the steps of her for her to walk, which is so cool. She used to be a Krav Maga instructor before she transitioned to MMA, so that's pretty fun. Like her opponent, she's definitely on that decision grind because she also knows how to turn it up in that round 3 and then just stay tough, gritty, unrelenting. She also is just very like unfazed. Like she could have a nickname like Psycho because it's just like unfazed. Like she is unbothered, so calm and collected, not gonna back down. Yeah, and she's also very clinchy, like her opponent, and a lot of times she's in the driver's seat in those moments where we're in the clinch. So, look out for that. Currently coming off a loss to Denise Gomes, and that was, I would say, like, it was pretty grindy. I mean, she withstanded the power that Gomes has a reputation for, and again, that round 3 definitely turned it up and was looking fierce, and that's what these ladies have in common. Both of them have a pretty complete MMA arsenal. I know Carolina more of a like striking background, but has like all of the grappling to implement as well, and been going for a little bit more takedowns here and there, perhaps. But both of them are fans of the clinch. Both these ladies love the clinch, and both of them are just ready to give it their heart and soul. Like that's what I love about them. It's just unfazed. So we are gonna see, I suspect, a pretty violent matchup. A lot of go-getter attitudes for both of these ladies. And I think it's going to be a nasty grind throughout until we get to the decision. Yes, I don't suspect either of these ladies will be finished. We got some tough cookies in our hands. And then we have a kooky heavyweight matchup. This background is not supposed to be green, but maybe it's a representation for the offness energy in a good way. Okay, Walter Walker, number 15 heavyweight, going against Muhammad Usman, who's looking to break his way into that top 15. Walter Walker, one of the Walker brothers, Walker Brother Jr., the Clean Monster. It's a pretty apt name as well, I would say, given his 3 heel hooks in a row. Yeah, that's pretty clean, I'll say. Okay. It's pretty clean. Yes, so he's following in Big J's footsteps. You know, Johnny. His only loss is via decision, and that was in his UFC debut. So has been on a three-fight win streak, and again, all of those three have been heel hooks, and they all have been in round one. It's never been done before. That's awesome. I'm like so hype on that, and I'm scared. How do you know? Like, how do you know? How is this possible? Because heel hooks, they're kind of rare these days. So, I mean, to be doing that is crazy. He's a brawler, though, you know, right? If you do drag him into the later rounds, he can get a little crazy town. So we might see that. Might see a little crazy town in there. And he says he preferred to hide in the shadows, but like I said in his before his last fight, you can only hide for so long, and especially after this heel hook situation, I think he's done hiding. And he's going against the Motor, Muhammad Usman. I think he's called the Motor just because he's like a unit. Like he's like tough. I think in one of the other sports that he played, he was just like boom, boom. And they're like, you're just a motor, I think. So he was in PFL and then he was a tough guy, champion in fact. So that's pretty cool. And he's been in the UFC since 2022 with that wrestling foundation, of course. Because we got another brother on our hands. Yeah, this is Kamaru Usman's brother. What? Battle of the Brothers? Well, we gotta have it, right? I mean, why, why not? That's fun. I didn't even think about it really. I mean, anywho. Okay. He's coming off of a decision win against Hamdi Abdelwahab, and he definitely showed a lot of improvements, I feel like, in terms of staying comfortable in the chaos because, like his opponent, can get a little crazy town in there when, you know, gets provoked into the brawl. But he wins all the ways, not really too much on the subby, you know, definitely a little bit more of a headhunter. But hey, he'll find his opening wherever it comes through. And has never been knocked out, so showing a lot of durability in there. But 75% of the losses are decision, a little bit because the technique starts to unravel a little bit. So the strikes, you know, maybe they aren't landing as much in the later rounds there. So been looking to show how comfortable he can be in that chaos. And like we said, yes, Kamaru Usman's brother. That's fun. And Rashad Evans in the building. He was last time. I'm thinking he's going to be in his corner again. So shout out to Rashad Evans. I mean, legend, right? He's a legend. And he used to work at Blockbuster. That's awesome. I love Blockbuster and I love DVD rental places. And Mahmoud Usman, he's a big fan of the beach. He likes to reflect, kick back, and just, you know, chillaxing on the beach. Who doesn't? We got a handful of heavyweight fights in our hands. I suspect that this will be one of the really exciting ones. I'm hoping that this one's just going to be crazy. I mean, I think it's almost a guarantee that it's going to be crazy in one way or another. I mean, right? Walter Walker, the whole heel hook situation. I think Muhammad Usman is just such a fun guy to watch, and he's just making leaps and bounds, I feel like, in his techniques and his performance. So this should be a pretty loud and banging heavyweight fight against Lucas Rocha. Lucas Rocha against Stuart Nickel. Lucas, Phenomeno, 25, making his way, right? Pretty new to the UFC, and by pretty new, I mean he's only had one fight. Clayton Carpenter got the better of him. I think it was round 2. He got put down round 1 and just was like, kind of it was just a little bit, not able to find his moment in the grappling exchanges, and then round 2, got choked out. It was pretty clean under the chin. Had to give it the old tappy yappy. And we haven't seen him in a year. So maybe back to the drawing board. But we're, Clayton Carpenter also on this card later. So we get, a little bit of drama there. But Lucas is more of a knockout guy. Comfortable in the boxing, you can see. He's got 10 wins via knockout. That's 56% of his wins total. But he can throw a little subber in there, right? Got 4 there. And of his finishes, 7 have come in the first round. So he can get it done anywhere, right? He can kind of grind you out. One thing about him is he loves knees. He's very knee-y. He likes to knee. So that's definitely, we're going to see at least one. I mean, it's not a Lucas Rocha fight if you don't see a knee, it seems. So maybe I'll eat my words, but I'm thinking knees. He really turns it up in the later rounds. So kind of, again, evidence with having 7 first round finishes, but having 10 wins by knockout, and then also the 4 submissions. So he does have a handful of submissions that are coming in the later rounds. So you can definitely see that he turns it up, loves to push that volume in those later rounds. And he's got a lot of interesting hobbies again. Here we go. He makes a Kai flower. Now that's cool. And he knows how to lay bricks. He's one of a couple of bricklayers that we got on the card. And one of his beliefs is that life, specifically the things that you get in life, are not simply given, but they are earned. You must fight. You must fight for them in life, not just in the cage. You hear that, Snorlax? So quit slacking. Lucas is up against Stuart Nickel. Kakamora. Which, what's that, you may wonder? Well, it's a group of mythical creatures, tricksters, short in size, coming from the folklore of the Solomon Islands, of which Stuart is native to. So that's fun and cool. Thanks, Stu. He is a second degree BJJ black belt. He is an XFC title champ 3-time. Hello. And he is coming off of his first UFC loss. I mean, he was against some, again, tough competition. Jesus Aguilar, he's kind of the Gilly master. He's got a lot of Gilly wins. And he hit that jumping Gilly. We did not get to see much. We did not get to see much from Stewie U. He got put to sleep quite early. Again, in Jesus' specialty. Yeah, he's a bit of a Gilly master. He got gillied. He got put to sleep. It was a little frightening. Jesus actually had to tell the ref, this man is asleep. So good on him, right, for doing that in Stewart's behalf. So Stewart's never been knocked out in the traditional sense. Yes, so he is durable, has 5 round 1 finishes, and that was that only loss, is that Subster. So, really curious to see how he comes back from that, right? His first career loss in the UFC debut. We got a lot to move up from there, right, of course. And the thing about Stu is he definitely attacks all targets. So he is on it everywhere. But we didn't really get to see. Okay, we did not get to see much. So here we go. These guys are a perfect match for each other. Both coming off of a loss in their UFC debut and both coming off of a submission loss. I mean, not that that really matters, but in general, they're at a similar place, and I think it makes sense, should be good. I'm just excited to see more since there's not a lot of UFC specific fight tape, and they kind of both got thrown to the wolves a little bit, clearly put against 2 guys who were maybe a couple tads ahead of them in the skill set category, so got a little pushed around, so maybe they're going to be a better match for each other. And next up, speaking of all this talk about debuts, we got a UFC debut with Beatrice Mesquita going against Irene Alcaceva. Bia Mesquita, she's here to make her UFC debut, and Bia is a pretty legendary human being. So not only is she a 4th degree BJJ black belt, but she's essentially the BJJ women's GOAT. Okay, so 10-time IBJJF champion. So she's literally in the Hall of Fame and currently holds the record for the most championships ever won. Hi, hello, how are you? Hi, hello, how are you? That is amazing. So, snaps, claps, and just bow down to the queen. That is so incredible. And now she's at American Top Team, making this really, starting off this transition to MMA. We're undefeated at 5-0. Had that moment at LFA. You also ADCC World Champion as well. Got to mention that. So she's currently coming off of that belt win for LFA. So winning the belt and ready for the UFC. And that win, she pretty much just was able to, punch her path into a takedown. So obviously, being that she is the BJJ GOAT, pretty comfortable on the ground, right? Yeah, not a surprise there. And it does a pretty good job at punching her way in there, getting the takedown, and then it's all her, all control. She loves that rear naked choke, so trying to find her way to that. And she also loves Disney. She's a Disney adult, and she has a physical education degree, so she is very learned. She'll be going against Irene Alcaceva, Russian Ronda. Big Ronda Rousey fan, makes sense. Many of us are. She had a judo beginning, so of course she wants, just like Ronda. And she was in Bellator before the UFC in 2023. She is a Sambo world champion as well. She's coming off of a decision loss to Claudia Segula, and, she just couldn't keep it composed. There's a little bit off rhythm. But we hadn't seen her since 2023, so that's kind of crazy. So she was gone for a while. She came back with an entirely new hairdo. Her hairdo is actually different than that one. It's the curly. She always has a great hairdo. Anyway, Yeah, so couldn't keep it together there a little bit. 2-fight losing streak, but she's never been finished, so that durability has proven true. She's a calf kicker for sure. Loves to kick those calves. Very aggressive with it too. Just like snap, snap. She's like really on that. But she gets triggered into the brawl upon damage. So when you hit her, the hands are going to drop down. She's going to come running forward looking for those loopy punches. It's crazy. And all of her finishes have been in round one. So she definitely has a lot of serious power to be wary of, which I think is why, that's how you develop a style like this, right? It's got to work at some points if you're going to keep doing it. She's also a musician. So she's an artiste, talented all around. She's pretty fun, goofball it seems. She got a pretty cute cat. And she used to be a taxi driver. That's a tough gig. This fight is going to be pretty fun. I mean, very exciting to see Bia make her debut. I think that this fight favors her a little bit just because she is so technical. So while she is punching her way into the takedown, she stays very, very composed. So it's quite the opposite of this. It's quite the opposite of that. So I'm thinking that she is probably going to do a pretty good job fielding through the wild and crazy punches and get things to the ground, where I think she is going to, I mean, it's pretty clear she's got the advantage there, but she's just shown a lot of nice, very refined technical skill, but always very exciting when we have a debut on our hands. So debut. And then we got more big boys. We got a lot of big boys on this night. Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. This is going to be an interesting heavyweight bout. All right, Vitor Petrino. He is interesting fella. He is coming off of a round one rear naked choke win against Austin Lane, which is pretty dope. He got on top of him and he patiently worked his way in there. Yeah, he got it done. And it was his heavyweight debut, so it was great to see, turning a new leaf because, he was on a 2-fight losing streak, and I think that those losses, both being a knockout in round one, maybe there's something to that, right? Maybe he needed the little extra hydration to help impact the chin, because when you're shrunken out, I think it does a number on the body. So time will tell. But those two UFC losses, yes, both occurred in the first round, which is crazy. So it was great to see him come back with his own round one finish. He managed, because, Austin Lane, he's got he's a little lateral about it, so he can get hard to get your hands on. But the truth is he is not exactly a very grappling heavy on the experience nor strategy. Vitor is definitely a unit, right? Body on this fella, let me tell ya. And he looked so good at heavyweight. Mr. Handsome, yes he is. So he's a knockout type, though, is the thing, right? When you got a big booty like that, oftentimes you got the knockout power. It's there's definitely a correlation there. He's very explosive, punchy, explosive. He's got 4 round 1 and round 2 knockouts. So it's happening early, right? Nay the third. Nay. Yeah, those hands can drop, so it gets a little sketchy. But he's all about pressure. So maybe it's not going to matter because he's just going to steamroll right through you. Historically has been a little bit overzealous. And he is going against Thomas Peterson, the former LFA champ. He made his statement on the Dana White's Contender Series with a key lock sub. And he is definitely a sub grapple type of guy. I mean, he's coming off of a decision win against Dantel Maez. And that was pretty much a lay down. He just kind of laid on him and just suffocated him, right? He said, no, I won't allow you. And he's taken down all of his UFC opponents. Ooh, that's fascinating stuff. So he's taking them all down. Takedown incoming for sure. It would be very, very strange if we don't see Thomas go for the takedown. I think that's pretty evident, but knockouts are the way. Huh? I know he does. He does everything. Thomas is very, very interesting. So 70% of his wins are knockouts. So he uses that wrestling foundation when he needs it, right? When he wants to quell you, he will quell you. He's a countryman, okay? Country boy, family man, diesel mechanic, talent, okay? And he's been ride or die with his wife for 12 years. He's 30 years old and he's been ride or die with his wife for 12 years. Does that mean he was 11 when okay. Well, he was basically 11. He was young. He was a young man, okay? And that is so cute and cool, and we love that. This is an interesting one. This is an interesting one for sure. We got Tom, who is a knockout guy, and then we have Vitor, who's a knockout guy. But Tom, a little bit more on that wrestling foundation. So curious to see if he chooses that pathway because the last fight, it was basically all his wrestling, and he does take down all of his opponents. So there will be a takedown at some point, it seems. But, who knows? I just am quite curious, and I'm excited to see Vitor continue to carve his heavyweight path because this will be his second appearance at heavyweight. So, shout out to our big boys. And then we have what I think is our featured prelim against Jafel Filo and Clayton Carpenter flyweights. Jafel, pastor, I think he is one, right? I think he literally is a pastor. We know he loves Jesus. We got a lot of God-fearing people on this card, so God bless him. He is a Shooto Brazil champ, Dana White's Contender Series, UFC 2023. We're right in that middle zone. Boom, boom. Okay, so which way we going to lean, right? More losses, more wins, kind of a critical spot. It's been a little bit of a slow start for our friend Jafel. It's not, not exactly super active. Currently coming off of a decision loss to Alan Nascimento, and that was a really cool fight. That was grappling 101. We were on the ground the entire time. Jafel almost got the submission in round one. Like, he was there. He was there, and it was a scare. He was there, and it was a scare. But, the bell hit. Okay, and we started round two, and Nascimento said, I want revenge now. And he got it, and he spent that whole second round completely in control. So we're like, wait a minute, it's looking tight, it's looking 1-1 perhaps. And then we get round three, and Jafel has a bit of a moment on top, but no. The script gets flipped, and it's a little bit earlier than halfway through. So, Nascimento eked out that decision. That was a good one, though. Well, we got some great grappling on both sides from both of those guys. Jafel is definitely a subber, right? He is a subber, and none of them were able to get the submission on each other, and that was a great fight. That was fabulous. He's also never been knocked out. So shout out to the durability. But he loves to choke. 10 of his wins, aka 60%, is coming from submissions, and the rear naked choke is definitely what he prefers. Almost got it in that round of his last fight. And if you're wondering why he fights, well, he saw fighting movies as a kid and was like, that looks pretty fun. I wonder if he likes Never Back Down. And he's going against Clayton Carpenter, who is Kuwait the grappler himself, right? IBJJF world champ, and gi and no gi, so he's all around. And Muay Thai. I'm telling you, this guy is made of aggression. He is. It's frightening. It is very frightening. So yeah, IBJJ champion world, Europe, he's all over the place. And LFA is where we got our eyes on him. We spotted him there. We grabbed him for the Dana White's Contender Series. And, fun thing about his LFA career, he was actually Fighter of the Year in 2021. Because this guy puts on a very, like I said, aggressive, frightening performance. And he is coming off of a decision loss to Chazir Alanbekov. And the thing is he kind of got picked up and put down. And in his fight against Lucas, who he was able to submit quite quickly. Lucas didn't have the same grappling accolades, but Ulanbekov was a little bit more dominant, and Clay was on his back a lot of that fight, and just didn't really get a lot of offense in that moment as well, as he's being controlled on the ground. So I got the decision loss there, but he's never been finished. And he is a bit of a subster himself. That's 50% of his wins. He's very flexible. That's the thing. He's kind of limby. He's pretty limby, and those limbs can kind of bend anywhere. He's kind of Corey Sandhagen-ish in that way. Bendy. He's a little bendy. Very technical, though. Very aggressive. Technical, aggressive. It's awesome. It's such a BJJ Muay Thai clash. You can feel that, and then he just has this very unique, he's feisty, like he's got rabies or something. It's awesome. So very curious to see how he rebounds after this first loss. It wasn't too long ago. It was a pretty good timeline here, right? Fought in January, and he likes Epictetus. Oh my. I don't know anything about that philosopher or Greek person, but we're going to find that out later. Jafel and Clayton both are quite aggressive. They do both have a very aggressive style. Both of them have very, very competent skills on the ground and go for some very, very interesting things up top as well. So I expect this fight to be a absolute quirk fest. I think this could be potentially, fight of the night just based on both guys. They have this very gun ho and very complete. I think they're a pretty good match for each other in terms of their skill set. I'm quite excited. I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit of everything in this fight, right? A little bit up top, a little bit downtown. I'm guessing that, but you never know. But I think most of these guys' fights do have moments everywhere, and I just love a fight like that when we have moments everywhere. So this is our featured prelim. So, hallelujah, we made it to the main card. And we got another Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell at featherweight. Lucas Almeida, he is a kickboxing, Muay Thai, BJJ hybrid, right? Here we go again with that. Awesome. Max fight champ, jungle fight champ. He's been everywhere. He's been all over the place, racking up those wins. And he came to the UFC in 2022. And he's a knockout guy, right? Mainly that kickboxing, that Muay Thai style, that's the fundamentals of where he's coming from. 60% of his wins, for sure. He's got 50% of his losses in decision, so showing a bit of durability there. He's got a very upright, very wide stance, with little karate vibes in that too. But he's also super tall, so I think he just kind of looks wide because he's a very tall guy, and he is currently coming off of a split decision loss to Danny Silva. Hey, that fight was a fun one. That was a really, really good fight. Lucas simply did not give up. He did not give up, and he really pushed it in round 3. He missed weight, though. Oh, and he will be testing his skills against the Texas kid. Happy belated birthday, Michael. Yay, Michael! Another year around the sun. September 27th is when he was born. He is a former Fury FC champ, also Dana White's Contender Series, and is coming off of a loss in his UFC debut. But it's against Belagioki. I mean, hello! Talk about skill and talent and on the rise. Yeah, it was also at lightweight. So this fight's at featherweight. That fight was at lightweight. And he looked real small. So I don't know the full story behind that, but it doesn't seem like lightweight is his journey. So I guess this is the start of his real journey, in a sense. Yeah. Michael's really interesting because he has knockouts 50% of the time, but also in every single round. So he's not exactly just relying on like heavy power, but maybe relying on overwhelming you a bit, or just timing, looking for the perfect shot, which can take a little bit of time to figure that out. He's not got nothing in subland, so he's never been subbed, not subbing himself, and he's just never been finished in general. So if you want to beat him, you got to grind him out into the decision. And he does have a wrestling background, but you wouldn't know it. Not in a mean way, just because he doesn't really go there. He wants to keep it in that boxing range. This is one fight that I kind of do expect to be just all feats, or all on the feats. Yeah, all on the feats. Both these guys like to box. Michael especially is really into the boxing range, but I think Lucas as well, preferring to keep it kicking, prefer to keep it a little kickboxy. So this one should be very clack, clack, clack. I don't think we're going to get a lot of moments on the ground unless Michael chooses to use the wrestling in the back pocket. But again, it has been in the back pocket when you look at his past fights. But this will be a good one. This will be fun and a new leaf for Michael, who was previously at lightweight. And then we have what seems to be a pretty inevitable path to blood and violence with Ricardo Ramos and Kian Olfi. Ricardo Ramos, he is a lot of fun in there, right? He is so much fun. Okay, BJJ black belt, legacy, UFC in 2017. So he's been here, done that, right? Come around, team alpha male, what's good? Yeah, he's been there. So he's currently coming off a decision loss to Chepe Mariscal, and Chepe is one bad mother effer. He really is. Ricardo's super interesting. He's got the MMA mindset, so he's definitely winning in all of the ways, and the fight can go anywhere with this guy, and he's going to have the same amount of energy no matter where it goes, but he's kind of got losses in all the categories as well, so maybe that gun-ho attitude can get turned into a little bit overzealous. He's got a very exciting style full of spinny innies. He's going to be spinning. He's got 2 spinning back elbow TKO wins. What the heck? And when he is submitting, he goes for the choke. Yeah, he does. And, you know, the thing about Ricardo is you just don't want to let him find his rhythm. Don't let this guy find his rhythm because he's going to get carried away and it's going to get bad. It's going to get scary, you know? So pretty much just if you can just dysregulate him, then you got him. You can get him there. And he's just because he's kind of looking for that one-shot timer when he is looking for the knockout. He's looking for the one-shot knockout. You know, Chepe had a really good style for that. Chepe, he's kind of just like a stay calm, cool and composed, and he's very good at closing the distance, mixing things up, and he was essentially leading the dance. And you know, Ricardo, he likes to lead the dance. And we have Kiyan also coming off of a loss. Kiyan's a really interesting guy. He's had a lot of really crazy tough times in his life, and he was on Tough. And I'm always saying, you got to have a pretty big personality to be on Tough. And a lot of times, those people have really seen some stuff. So he definitely has. He was a Hex champion, killed it over there. And, you know, he's on a 2-fight losing streak in the UFC. So we're looking to get that first UFC win. But, you know, again, been thrown to the wolves. Coming off that decision loss to Naimev. Just couldn't find the rhythm. You know, he just couldn't find it. I could feel that it was close. But you can't sub him, never been subbed. 45% of his wins. He definitely likes to force the clinch. Saw a lot of that in the Naimov fight, but it just 75% of his losses are decision. So that's the weakness there. As of now, he's attacking all the targets. He's got a pretty bouncy, wide stance, so he's looking to, you know, hit you from some weird angles like that. And, you know, he's a bricklayer. Yeah, that's right. We got more bricklayers. Demolition worker, too, if you need someone to take the building down. This should be a really, really fun fight that I think, you know, could go anywhere, but I expect a lot of odd angles, a lot of strange lateral movement, and both of these guys in a pretty critical spot. I think Olfi in like a really critical spot, so I'm curious to see the kind of energy that he comes out with, like knowing where he's at right now. And we got some more big boys on our hands, Yonata Denise and Mario Pinto. Yonata is Muay Thai 101. Yeah, he simply is. He's Muay Thai 101. Black belt, of course, but world champion, national champion, and the first ever Brazilian fighter to compete in Glory Kickboxing. Yeah, you heard. That's pretty cool, right? He's been doing pretty good in the UFC, currently coming off of a decision win against Alvin Hines. You know, Alvin Hines, very new to MMA, but that fight was awesome. Yeah, that fight was so cool. I mean, Yonata was looking pretty educated. He was looking pretty educated because, again, Alvin Hines only been doing MMA for a little while, but he's got some crazy good heart and a pretty good right hand, actually. But Yonata stayed cool. He stayed very cool, and he also showed an equal willingness to want to get in the brawl, get in the fire, let that blood fly, and that was really cool. I love to see that. He's got a lot of heart, so I'm a fan. 78% of his wins are knockout. He's a kickboxer after all, and 6 of them are in round 1. But in that decision fight against Alvin, I think he proved to have a lot of gas in that tank. Lots of leg kicks, of course. And again, nothing in subland, so when he's in control. He is in control. So his only loss is actually a doctor stoppage, and let me tell you, he was looking yucky. Yeah, it was looking gross. It was looking like it had to be. Yuck, yuck, yuck. We had to call it quits. But just a sign of his incredible durability. So while that is a TKO loss, right, it's really it's cosmetic. It's a cosmetic loss is what it really is. But that was great. He knows how to go to war, and that's what we can expect. And he'll be up against Mario Pinto with a bit of a different strategy. So Levels Fight League, 2-time champ, also Dana White's Contender Series, and he is coming off of a TKO win over Austin Lane, where he was looking behind in the strikes and was being very, very patient. He's a very tall man. You know, his reputation pretty much is that he takes his time, though. He's looking for the pocket, but he's not chasing it. Yes, he is countering, and he is just completely defense 101. Like, even in the chaos, right? Even if someone's coming towards him with a flurry of punches, he's here, he's around, he's waiting. Like, he's very, very patient. And it was looking like, oh no, like he had to get the finish, and he timed it, and oh my gosh, it was a jab and then an overhand right that he landed on Austin, and it sent him comatose. Like, he was outie for real. It was scary. I mean, he did wake up, of course, but it was a really scary moment, and that's the thing about Mario. He's defense 101. This should be a really, really interesting fight because Yonata is down for a brawl. Like, he's down to get gritty nasty, but he is also pretty technically refined, has a lot of really, really sharp Muay Thai arsenal at his hands, but he likes to, and I think will get gritty because that's kind of what you got to do to Mario. You got to overwhelm him. You got to overwhelm him because he's defense, again, defense 101, but the power is powering. So you got to watch out. It's scary stuff. Mario could get you at any moment, but this is definitely, because of that, I feel like a really big nail biter. And essentially, in my mind, both of these guys are undefeated because Yonata, again, the only loss, Dr. Stoppage, it was yucky. It was yucky. We had to. We had to. We had to. So, yeah, this is a really fabulous matchup. Both these guys, young, hungry, so talented. I'm really excited about this one. And then we have another really exciting matchup between Vicente Luque and Joel Alvarez at welterweight. This is a baddie, addy matchup. Vicente Luque is such a legend. I think him and Carolina are like the other two. Maybe they deserve some hype, of course, because like Charles Oliveira is like legend. But those are other two legends. Vicente Luque is so much fun, the silent assassin. He was on Tough back in the day. And now he's here since 2015, same as Carolina, actually. And he's been there, done that, right? Like, he's fought everybody. He's actually following in his mom's footsteps, a little karate kid. He's a karate kid, gone BJJ black belt. And he had a really weird 2023 to 2024. It's been a little bit, a little bit crazy. So he only fought once during each of those years, and he had 5 canceled fights within that as well. And you think, what's going on? And the answer is subdermal hematoma, which, if you don't know, is brain bleed. So dealing with some pretty serious and pretty heavy stuff. So we gotta, be wishing all well to our boy Vicente Luque. But it looks like we're back on the grind. We're back in, ready to get going. Yeah, so 50% of his losses are decision. So maybe getting a little bit, if you can find your timing with this man, maybe you can get it done, because 87% of his wins are finishes. So he's looking to get it, get it done out, no decision needed. Pretty evenly split, though, as far as between submissions and knockouts, and we love that. That's that Karate Kid BJJ combo, am I right? Currently coming off of an anaconda choke loss to Kevin Holland. That was a crazy fight. So, he shoots for the single leg, and Kevin Holland immediately is just whacking on his head. Just, yeah. Oh, Kevin Holland, he's so crazy. So eventually he gives up on it. And then Kevin Holland's just talking to him. It's crazy stuff. I mean, that fight's crazy. But, yeah. And then Kevin was able to get him in the anaconda choke. It was wild stuff. And it's kind of crazy. A little bit of an Uno reverse card, because Vicente's previous fight was actually an anaconda choke win. What the heck? Anyway, weird fight record. So, yeah. He doesn't engage in trash talk, though. He's chilling. And that's kind of how he is in the cage as well. Not chilling, but composed. Composed, refined, has it all. And he is going against Joel Alvarez, El Fenomeno. Wait, do we have 2 Phenomenos on this card? Or am I tripping? Anyway, Joel is really interesting. So AFL dominance, he was the champion, and he is a sublane. Sublane 101, he was born into the life of subbing, 77% of his wins, and 11 of them on round 1, and has never been subbed himself. But the thing is that he's actually really a striker too. Yeah, Joel Alvarez is one scary dude. He's never won a decision. Okay? So he's submission or knockout or nothing, let me tell you. He's on a 3-fight win streak. 2 of them are knee related. What's up with that? So watch out for the knees with this guy incoming. So currently coming off a TKO win over Jakar Close, I'd say it's a pretty big deal. That was a pretty big deal, and it was a really stiff punch and then a knee. So it wasn't just the knee, not trying to discredit, but it's knee related. So honestly, I'm trying to credit because he mixes it in. So it's awesome. The way that he does things, he is so stocky. He kind of limits his movement a little bit. He's not very twitchy, and he's super tall. Very, very tall, and that's why he's a nightmare on the ground. Well, not why, but it makes him a different kind of nightmare on the ground. I think this fight has banger written all over it because both guys just come with a very, very complete MMA arsenal, and I'm very, very excited to see Joel because we haven't seen him in pretty much a year. Just 2 months shy of a year. So happy to see him again. And Vicente Luque is just so classic. I mean, anything could happen. It's one of those fights. You feel like anything could happen. And both guys just have a very, very fun, exciting style. Joel Alvarez, I mean, what is up with this man? He can do so many crazy things. And Vicente Luque has been there, done that, and some. That leads us to a very exciting co-main event in the bantamweight division. Deiveson Figueiredo against Montel Jackson. We are fighting in the top 10. Deiveson Figueiredo, God of War, What a Baddie, Jungle Fight, UFC 2017. He's just been all over. I mean, talk about legendary. I mean, right now, though, coming off a weird spot. Okay, coming off that fight was strange. So that, like, what a moment, right? The TKO loss to Corey Sandhagen in UFC Iowa, the knee injury, such a strange moment. Deiveson is kind of chaotic like that, you know, in win and loss, he's chaotic. He definitely prefers the finish. He's a 2-time flyweight UFC champ, right? I mean, what an epic story. But we are on the bantamweight leaf, so, you know, carving the world of bantamweight now. I think he's looking good. 100% gamer, though, right? Never forget the Moreno 4-fight saga epic, right? But come on. Yeah, so finding our way at bantamweight, though, you know, leaving that in the past, leaving the old Moreno in the past. Thing about Deiveson is he is ground strikes 101 violence. So what he's going to do is just try to plow you down, right? He's just going to try to plow you down. And then if he does manage to plow you down, it's going to be all the fists that's going to come flying down from ground and pound, it's just going to be so fast. But he has an MMA mindset, so he's always ready to move and change levels, and I love the way he mixes in the takedowns. I think he's just such an exciting fighter because he can do it all, and he can maneuver wherever need be. He's kind of an enigma in that way. He's a little enigma. And speaking of enigma, he's been a hairstylist, a taxi driver, self-described cowboy, and sushi chef. So, you know what? He's kind of consistent in that way. In the cage, it seems like he can live a million lives. I mean, it's all related to chaos and it all has that God of War essence to it, but he can do so many things in the cage and he can do so many things outside of the cage. It adds up. He used to be a team alpha male, but now he's doing his own thing. So that's kind of interesting and it's worth keeping our eyes on. And he is going against Montel Jackson, number 15, who I'm sure is so excited at this opportunity. This is so huge for Quick Jackson, who is called Quick because he used to work at a place called Quick Pantry. And because he's fast. Yes, he is very fast. And he's got huge hands. So I like this picture of him because you can kind of conceptualize it. Like his hand next to his head is like as big as his head. My hand next to my head is no, come on. That's a big hand. That man's got a big hand. He's a southpaw. So fast. He's a Midwest king. Shout out to the Midwest. We love the Midwest. Shout out Milwaukee, the sister city. Yes, love Milwaukee. Montel has been looking so good. 6-fight win streak, coming off of a decision win against Daniel Marcos, was looking like such a baddie. And before then, a huge statement win against Damon Blackshear, was able to get the KO. That's a really big deal. He has a wrestling foundation that transition to MMA, and you will definitely see that. He uses his wrestling a lot to get some very, very meaningful control, and then also to get the heck up. He's very good at getting the heck up when he wants to. He's never been finished. He's got insane durability, and again, he's a southpaw. Very dangerous left hand. Very dangerous left hand. That's the power hand. He's a knockout artist, not a subber. So that wrestling foundation has not really translated into any sort of grappling action, as it is a way to control and a great system of defense for Montel, for sure. I don't know about all the canceled bouts, but he has the canceled bout curse. So that's no fun. We don't love that for our friend Montel. And again, I used to work at the Quick Pantry. And a quote that he, I think, lives by is, "Don't let yourself get attached to anything you're not willing to walk out on." This should be a really, really fun and aggressive fight. I suspect that Deiveson will be looking for some takedowns and Montel will be looking to go, get off me. That's not what I want to do. And I like that. And I'm going to like the feisty. I feel like it's going to have a bit of a feisty energy to it. I think Deiveson, he's in a tricky spot right now. He's got to hold the line big time and he's got to bounce back from a loss. Montel, also in a bit of a tricky spot. Coming in with a lot of momentum, right? 6-fight win streak and a really big opportunity to crack past the top 10 into nearly the top 5. I mean, really, really big opportunity, especially in the bantamweight division where we are really looking for some shakeups, right? We are looking for some big shakeups, some big statements. So this is a really, really big fight. Really, really big fight. I'd say it's got a lot riding on it. And I just expect it to be so feisty. I just feel like, yes, like it's going to be get off me energy. This is a great, great co-main event. That leads us to our main event, a lightweight scrapperoo between the legendary, the illustrious, the incredible Charles Oliveira against Mateusz, our gamer Gamrot, who is saving the day. You know, God bless him. Let's talk Oliveira. Let's talk. Let's talk about the old Oliveira, do Bronx, started training at 9 years old, and BJJ black belt, no duh, right? Because the accolades, right? He's been in the UFC since 2010, which is insane. That's a long time ago. 2010, as of now, was a long time ago. Yes, it was. I was a child. Charles Oliveira was fighting. So that's pretty cool. Legend, absolute celebrity. This is one of the biggest celebrities of our whole sport. I mean, hats off to him, right? Hats off to the man. He is the man. This is so many people's favorite fighter for good reason. Even if it wasn't for the most finishes, even if it wasn't for the most submissions or the most performance bonuses or the fact that he's fought 3 times for the vacant belt. What is that? What is that? Oh my gosh, this man has been everywhere and anywhere. He just has such an incredible story of who he is and the performances that he puts on in the cage. I mean, how many times have we seen this guy come back from the dead? How many? How many times? Okay, a lot. A lot. And so he has this reputation of being so dangerous on his back. I mean, yikes. It's scary. Not a lot of people are as dangerous, and I think most people would give him the crowning award for most dangerous on their back, most likely to come back from the dead. In other words, he knows what to do in a pinch. Oh, forgot to switch the hats. This is the other hat. That one doesn't sit as well. Yes. So he knows what to do in a pinch. He's an absolute role model as well for his community. I mean, bringing back just so many opportunities, opening gyms. I mean, talk about a global citizen, talk about a community citizen. He is one interesting guy. I mean, they're going to make a movie about him one day, right? I'm talking like a movie like they made for Mark Kerr, like one of those movies. But the thing about Charlie Arlie is he's got a bit of a reputation of getting knocked out sometimes, yes. And currently coming off of a knockout loss to Ilia Topuria, who has his own reputation for knocking out legends. Right. So here we are. Didn't get the old belt. Yeah. So really just making fights that are good fights at this point, I feel like is kind of the game plan. So it was originally supposed to be Rafael Vaziev. But, as it be, we lost. We lost our man. Again, still alive, but he couldn't make it. So instead, we have Mateusz Gamrot. Hello, gamer Gamrot. He rocks. Thank you. We love this guy. What a fun guy. He's good vibes. This is a good vibes guy, let me tell you. So KSW, right? Being from Poland, again, regionally makes sense. Two division champs. That's pretty badass, right? 13-0. Hi. Hello, how are you? Yeah, absolute murder. He killed it over there. UFC in 2020, it has been 8-3, so he's been doing fabulous. He's been doing so fabulous. Thing about Mateusz is, watch out. Takedowns are incoming. So, if you didn't know, he's got the 4th most takedowns for all of the UFC lightweights. That's kind of a lot, okay? That's a lot of takedowns. I think it's almost 50 successfully gotten within his 11 fights. That's a lot of takedowns. So watch out. They're coming. Takedowns are coming. I mean, I think even on Charles Oliveira, I think he's going to go for it. He's currently coming off a decision win against Ludovic Klein. That was a great performance in terms of suffocation, no breathing. Well, not quite because it was a decision. So I guess there was some breathing. but he kept his hands on him, like kept him hugged up. Kept him hugged up, and that's exactly what Ludovic Klein didn't want, because Ludovic is more of a strikey, and Gamrot just neutralized him. He said, nah, not today. But he wins all the ways. That's the thing about Gamrot, is he will do it all. He's very, very complete, just kind of looking for wherever he's got to be. So 48% of his wins are via decision, so that kind of leaves the rest to be pretty evenly split. He's got that dog in him. That's the thing. He has really got that dog in him. I love it. He'll get testy. I love how testy he will get in there. And, he's been doing some sparring with Poirier. So we love that, right? Shout out to Dustin. Shout out to my cat's tail. Oh. Are you lost? Are you lost? Yeah. He's a big family man. So he definitely gets homesick. So we got to hurry up and send him back to Poland right when this is done, so he can go be with his family. And speaking of awesome Polish people, Joanna Jędrzejczyk is his hero, which I think is awesome. And it makes so much sense, right? Because as far as Polish fighters in the UFC, paved the way. And I love that. Got to support each other, lift each other up. And she is a legend. She's my hero. She's on my inspiration wall. Yeah, so if you want proof about how Mr. Gamrot is Gamer Gamrot, check out the fact that he has 5 performance bonuses. Hello, we got a lot of fight of the nights in there. Yeah, so we might get some fight of the night here. Again, good vibes guy. He can do it all. MMA mindset. So, historically speaking, Charles Oliveira has gotten the win every single time he's fought in Brazil under the UFC. 6 times. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I read that from the UFC themselves earlier today. Am I making this up? It just seems so crazy that that's true. So, speaking from that perspective, rut roast spaghetti-o. Like, it's looking like not a lot of people are believing in Gamer Gamrot. A lot of us are getting on our Team Brazil hats. But I think he's got more than a fighting chance. I think this is going to be a scrap. I think this is going to be an absolute scrap. I don't really know, though, because the thing about Gamrot and the thing about Oliveira is they kind of have this go with the wind kind of element to them. They will go wherever they fly. So we're going to see. We're going to see, as we're all going to see for every one of these fights, right? All of it is a we're going to see. But, ow, this is kind of pinching my head, so I'm going to give it back to Snorlax. It's an old hat, right? Look at that. It's bleach stained. It's an old one. Yeah. This will be good. This will be good. This will be really good drama. I'm really excited for this fight. I feel like this whole card is a real card for the fans. This is one for the real ones, right? This is one for the real ones. We have so much talent on this card. It's going to be incredible. And one of our favorites, legends, Charles Oliveira, and just amazing, right? We got a crazy bantamweight co-main event with a lot of implications, and just so many good fights all over this card. I'm so excited. I think every fight has crazy good potential. Really fun night on our hands. So let me know, what fight you're most looking forward to. Anything at all. Let me know. This is our song of the week. I feel like it makes sense. Check it out because it's all about being a star when you come to Brazil. How everybody knows you when you come to Brazil, and that's Charles Oliveira, right? I think that is all I got. Let me know anything else, and peace out.